And we are live with Meg from Meg's Drywall. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so good. Have you done anything with your fresco yet? Did you make it?
No,
No,
no, honestly, no. I've just started a huge monster house, so we have just been focused on that. Yeah.
how huge is huge?
I think it's about 25,000 square feet of drywall.
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd say that's huge.
Two people, no kids. There's only one bedroom. There's a gym and a golf simulator room, and guests stay in the garage above and in a lovely loft, like
In like
right on the water.
a nanny those have to be the best sites where you're contained in the house. They must have big bay windows somewhere.
They do. Yeah,
Yeah,
the whole back
yeah.
wall. Yeah.
We when I was working at a town, the same company was doing the Hilton in Niagara Falls
Okay.
when
Yeah.
it got revamped. And when we came back for Christmas break, like we were basically just fucking around for hours. We made our money and we did our work. They didn't care what we did as long as we showed up. So we were having like our lunches overlooking the
Yeah.
falls.
Yeah, I would
And
too.
and I've always wanted to have a site like that where it's just like this big huge house on the water. I would love that.
Yeah, the general has some lovely chairs there. So the other day we pulled them up in front of the windows and he laughed at us.
We're just keeping
It
them
was
in the
so
sun for
lovely.
you. Yeah, it's
Yes,
it's
it was
totally
lovely.
fine.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's somewhat in the wintertime, so it keeps you out of the water. Because
Yes.
I
Yes.
imagine after
The
sanding
wind is
day,
cold off the water. Yeah.
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 Um, you're not gonna find anything moisture wise that affects the mud, do you? When you're that close, you're pretty sealed.
It depends. In the summer, yes, because there's more humidity closer to the water. In the
Right.
winter, not so much because this house they actually did an air test, so we know it's fully sealed.
Nice. Those are
So
cool.
yeah, I didn't get to see that, but I would like to.
I would love to be there for that.
Yeah.
The house that I taped over Christmas, Judd bought this house in a community that you can't do anything to. So you have to keep the house, and he kind of knocked everything down. He redid the floors, but the house is kind of inside the new house,
Okay.
if you know what I mean. Like the old
Yeah.
beams and stuff are still there. So that's
Is
the
it
way that they.
is it a historical house? Is that why they had to keep it that way?
I think it's a
Yeah.
historical community, so it can't
Yeah.
get any bigger. You can as long as you're using the same footprint, you can literally do what
Yeah.
he did. When they got into the septic, though, they're right on the rock. It was a nightmare. After they added that extra bedroom, it used to have a barn out the side of it,
Oh.
but that was still technically a footprint. So
Yeah.
it ended up being like 6,000 board feet in this one floor. It was perfect. It was perfect
Yeah.
for me, and I think there was like 15 butt joints on the whole thing, but they spray foam the whole thing. So
Yeah.
I asked if they were going to get a pressure test, but I guess kind of in between places, he doesn't think that they would have passed, but I think they probably would have.
Yeah. My girlfriend does the spray foaming, so she lets me watch sometimes.
It's got to be so satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she did a cool video on TikTok and she was like, look at how many views I got. It's like, oh, how'd you do that? Like, it's so cool.
Well, it's one of those, it just looks like they're just doing this up the
Yeah.
wall, and then it's like whoop, and
Yeah.
it's perfect. It's not outside of the cavity. Like when you're good at it, it is.
Yeah.
I could watch it for a long time for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, when did you get home from work?
I actually got home from work early today, so
Yeah, you look
around
relaxed.
3:30. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with a monster house like that, are you just chunking it into like, we're gonna get this done today, and then when it's done, or do you just kind of run to your?
Well, this house is a pain.
Yeah.
It's 3 years in the making. It was supposed to be built 3 years ago, so
Ooh.
they are way behind. But the framer, things have taken so long that the framer actually has left and gone to another job. So the main floor is ready. That's what we're working on now. And then we can actually go out and do the loft and the garage. There's a few framing things that he has to do. But in the basement, because of the golf simulator, like there's still bulkheads to be framed in. So we're
Oh
just
my
doing one
God.
floor at a time, basically.
So do you think by the time you're done, he'll be done, or are you coming back to this one?
It better be done.
Yeah, that's
I told
that's
the
a good
contract-
fucking answer, actually.
I told the contractor today that if nothing was ready for me next week, I need to know because I'm going to book something else. He was like, nope, we're going to get it ready.
That is kind of the problem with board feet, is if it's not ready or if it takes you too long or whatever,
Yeah.
you
Well, I
know,
have 6 employees, so I have to keep them going, right? Like giving them, like me taking time off is different than giving them time off. So
totally.
they want to work and they need it.
Well, and I would imagine if I had someone working under me, my thought process would be they need this check or everything's going to go to even if they didn't, and even if I didn't know, that would be that kind of mindset of it all.
Yeah. Always. Yeah.
Yeah, which takes a certain person too to be able to do that, and then to like be able. I know, right?
I talk about quitting all the time and going to work the drive-through at Harvey's.
You know what? Yeah. Actually, by the time that this comes out, I will have quit my contract work. I'm done.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to taping full time.
Yeah.
I miss it. It's so satisfying.
It is satisfying.
Now it also is kind of a kick in the nuts some days, but like every job has that.
Yeah. When you go to it and it's still wet and you're like, there's nothing I can do. It's just so I can't code it today.
God damn it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some air movers. I think that's something that I never did before. Like get a decent air moving system and just ensure that it's gonna be dry.
Yeah, dehumidifiers. Always with a hose. You have to run it with a hose so it runs constantly.
Okay.
But for us, it's heat. Like I find even there's so much humidity because I'm 2 hours north of you.
Yeah.
There's so much humidity here that even in the summer, I have a hard time drying things without heat.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah.
So what do you
trying
do?
Trying to explain to contractors that it has to be 25 degrees for mud to dry. And they're, it'll be fine.
They're like, good luck with that.
It's not fine. And people don't understand that. What do I do? Fans, dehumidifiers, heat. Like every contract, when I make a quote, it says you need to supply heat, or there needs to be a dryer plug and stove plug put in so that I can supply heat.
Yeah, and that's not being picky. That's what we need here. We need access to water too. That shouldn't be a whole fucking thing either. Like
I bring my own water because we use hot water. I like to have hot water.
What do you think that does? It mixes better, eh? Or
no, it's just nice for my girly hands.
Oh, yeah.
It's cold by the end of the day, but in the morning when you're washing stuff and you're freezing,
that's nice.
So nice.
Yeah, I can imagine. I use Rip-It gloves now because he sent me a bunch of them. They're dope.
I find they wear through too fast.
Yeah. Now I was buying boxes of mechanics gloves.
Yeah.
And they're like real tough. But like I was going through, I don't know, 5 or 6 pairs of those a day. So I was like, these ones I could at least wash and I'll try again. But I'm so rough on everything, right? It's this is more to just wear them to show them I appreciate them.
I like them for when you're block sanding, when you're light checking.
Yeah.
I find again my fingers get so rough, and nobody likes a lady with rough hands, so I like to try to make them nice.
Cam says that he wears them when he runs the Predator.
I like that too because you get that grip. So if it gets mud on it at all, you're not slipping. Yeah.
Now he said it's because the tape bothers his hands. Because I think he has hands closer to yours than mine. Is what I got from that, and that's fine.
I've had some paper cuts from the tape for sure.
Yeah, I feel like I could run a X-Acto blade across my hands; it'd be just fine. All the years of like being a barbarian. How long are you going to be on this site?
Well, I'm hoping another 3 or 4 weeks, but we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
You get the next one lined up, or do you kind of wait? Yeah, that's what.
No, I have people waiting for me. Yeah, yeah.
That's when you know you're good. Just they'll wait for you.
I try to be.
Yeah. Can we talk about your foot? A lot of people don't know what happened. Do you want to tell us?
Well, like I had a hereditary bunion and I had to have surgery on it because it when you have anything like that, it actually changes all the muscles in your body. So my whole left side was messed up. I was supposed to do it last year in May, and I was like, it's the busiest time of year. I can't do it. So they put me in January, the hardest 2 months, because 6 weeks until I could actually do anything really.
Yeah.
And then another 2 weeks just to make sure, but 2 months of hell.
Would have been brutal. I would assume you would be overcompensated. Like, how long did you have it? For a while, right?
Years. Yeah. Years. Yeah,
So,
like I actually bought silicone things to wear in my work boots because it would put pressure on it and hurt all day. So
yeah.
You do change things, your body changes.
Yeah.
Even right now, I can't put my work boots on yet. So I'm just wearing running shoes, and getting up and down on a bench is like, oh my gosh, that hurt. Yeah.
I used to tape in sandals because I liked that.
Oh God,
it was
crazy.
Like, it was very low key.
I never understand. I honestly work boots all the time because I set things on the steel toe of my work boot. I don't know how people do that. Like sandals, I would cut a toe off if I wore sandals.
There were a few times where like I would go to like kick something out of the way, like if I was wearing work boots, and you're like, that's my toe. But I'm so tall, I'm hardly ever up and down ladders and scout, that kind of stuff. The first time that I had to carry around my 2-step with me was the last time I wore sandals, because there's no support at all. I woke up that next morning like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, there was some about like every once in a while you get mud in between your toes, and I was like,
oh, weird.
This is cool.
Weird.
It's I'm such a weirdo, man. Okay, so how many people do you have working for you? 6?
6, yeah.
And then how many would be like a journeyman?
So a lot of them are fairly new, actually. So I have one young woman who 2, 3 years ago, I actually met her mom, and her mom said her daughter wanted to do a co-op with high school in a trade.
Perfect.
And she said she wanted to be an electrician. And I said, oh, well, she should come just one day, I said, and check out what I do. I said, because I get to see everything. I said, so you can see what the electrical looks like. You can see everything. And so like a month later, her mom messaged me and was like, she wants to do a co-op with you. I was like, cool, free labor.
Perfect.
So she's been with me. She quit twice, but she's been with me for 3 years off and on.
Like to pursue other stuff, or like to travel, or
just she's young. She's not ready for that, right? Like,
you're just that hard to deal with. No,
no, but there,
totally.
It's hard on your body. I have another woman who's been with me for 2 years now. She's sort of my forewoman. So I know I can trust her to manage and make sure the customer is happy and make it look good.
Perfect.
And then I have 2 guys who are fairly new. I think one's been with me for a year and maybe 6 months, but they're sort of like, I would call them still apprentices. They're still learning.
Yeah, but that's good. There's lots of stuff for guys like that to do. People like that to do.
Yeah.
So you're running Columbia stuff. You're doing all auto tools. Are they all being taught on the auto tools?
Yeah.
Did you skip them over hand taping?
No, we do it all.
Good for you.
No. Well, like when I started, I had to do the nails for like a year.
Yeah.
And so I always like the first thing you do is learn how to do the nails.
Yeah.
And if you can't do them well, like I watch everybody with their nail spotters and I think that's great, but if you don't know how to do them right, you're never going to get that tool right.
Yeah.
So, and you start by doing the nails, you learn how to push things in and fix things, and then you start to see those things as you're going. So I make sure they start at the bottom and work their way up.
I think that like you hit on it there, where when you're a hand taper, you're not just putting mud on the wall, you're like manipulating how you're doing it. And like if there's a crevice, there's a little more pressure, or you're leaning left or right, or like cleaning up edges of things.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that you're just never going to learn running the auto tools, and you're going to stumble around when you have to.
Well, even, like sometimes boxes get buried. Like I can always tell you when there's a hump in the wall.
Yeah.
I can see things before other people do, and I can feel when things are out before other people can. So That's why I want them to learn that. They like even just a little ding in the wall. Sometimes you don't see those dings in the wall, and you get sanding day, and then the painter comes in and they say, well, what is this?
You're like,
Well,
shit.
like don't miss that stuff.
Yeah, I did. When I learned the trade, I was just a hanger when I got started, and
Yeah.
then I got into steel framing. And then we would have the tapers show up and my tail would get wagging, and I would kind of look at the guy that was training us, and he was just like, that's not for you. And I I didn't know why. Like I thought it was a finesse thing. Like these were like typically smaller men. Like I knew
Yeah.
nothing about it. But they were so fucking cool. Like they were the guys that were just like getting super high and like
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
they'd have their music playing, and like they'd be half covered in mud on the way home, but they were the superheroes, right, of the site. In my
Yeah.
opinion, they were the cool people. And later on in life, when I had to start taping on my own, like terribly, and then taught myself kind of from the ground up. And everything that I've heard from anyone that was taught professionally how to do it was that you were doing screws and cleaning like cleaning equipment, and it was no fun for a little while. And I think maybe
Yeah.
he did me a service doing that. I thought that he always kind of held me back from it, but I imagine that would have turned me off of doing it. I would have been bored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I used to, when I talk to my staff, I'm like, you guys need to understand that when I started, I was the girl. I said,
that
they
too.
started guys at $10 an hour. They started me at 7.
That's trash.
I said, I had to earn my way. And I was told that until I could finish all the nails in the house in one day, I couldn't move on to the next step. I
Yeah,
said, so I would work my ass off and get those nails done as fast as I could so that I could learn how to put tapes on.
yeah.
And so then they let me start trying to wipe tapes. And then they taught me how to put the bead on. And I actually had an employee once years ago who said, oh, you can't put bead on faster than me. And I'm like, let's go then. And I said, bring it on. I said, like, I love putting bead on. It's my favorite thing to do. And we were using the paper phase metal.
Yep.
And so I was in one room and he was in another. And I think I put on something like 20 sticks of bead and he put on 4.
Yeah.
And he was like, you didn't do that. I looked at all the guys around me. I'm like, you all saw this, right? They were like, yeah. I said, so how could you say that I didn't do that? I said, it's clear in the room that I'm in.
They all look at you and go, no, you didn't.
Yeah, oh no.
Just gang right up on you.
It'd be firing Friday then.
I'm gonna see where, just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen this yet? It's the hook bead.
No, what is
Okay, I gotta put my
that?
headphones back on.
What
So
is that?
this was at Vegas, and it's called hook bead.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, you see these little teeth.
Yeah.
You just put that against the wall and give it a thump, and it's done.
So what happens if the wall's out?
That's what I said to him. Now it does
Oh,
kind of have a pretty good lip to it.
yeah, but you can manipulate other beads because they move a little bit. Like
Yeah.
you can float things and
But there's really no fasteners to cover, right?
yeah.
So all you're covering is that whatever 16th
Like
of
how
metal.
I can't see how that sticks. Where was it manufactured? Do they have snow load there? Because like I get 3 feet of snow sometimes here. So like is that gonna pop when that
Probably.
snow load squishes down on the roof?
Yeah, but
It's
they're
my
gonna make a
favorite
lot of
question for
money
companies.
until that happens. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you I don't know if we can see. Yeah, you see those little
Yeah,
teeth? So
yeah.
yeah, they dig right in. He show I again, I'll never use it, but I think it's a fucking great idea. Like if you
Yeah,
had a basement or something where there's not going to be movement, like
yeah,
yeah, I just thought it was the craziest thing.
yeah,
I spend a whole day with my bead just because like the steel framer in me likes it to be 100% perfect.
yeah. Me
And
too.
I'll take 10 minutes on a three-way if I need to, like an
Yeah,
outside three-way, because I was taught if you can't rub your finger around the outside of it and it not catch,
yeah.
that's not right.
That's one
Um,
of the reasons why I like vinyl bead now.
yeah,
Like I'd rather use trim text vinyl bead than anything else.
that's all
If
I
I,
use.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I drove for 40 minutes yesterday. I needed the archway and stuff, and there's just no suppliers in my area, so I was
Uh,
like, I gotta go.
how far is the new berry store from you?
It's probably about an hour 45.
Yeah, fuck, eh? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
too bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
It is closer than Vaughan, which is nice. So like I will be able to go there more frequently, but yeah, what a
uh,
pain.
yeah, so this will come out way after that. So the grand opening's June 2nd. Do you know that? Yeah,
No, I
okay.
didn't know that yet.
Yeah, so don't tell anyone, but that's when it is. Sorry, Brad. Yeah, when we're gonna do some fun stuff, I think.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah, good. It's actually Wolfgang reached out to me after Vegas and he wants to do a giveaway. And the guys from the three-way are working with him. I'm working with them too now, starting to get into like doing teach outs and just teaching, doing good, giving back, right? That's
Yeah,
the way I look at it.
that's what I
And
like to do.
so I give myself this report card at the end of every year, and it's not of what we did good, it's the things that we're missing.
Yeah.
And teaching and giving back, last year there was none, literally none. I gave back a bit. I did a free basement, and I did some stuff for my cousin, but nothing
Yeah.
like what like feel good stuff.
Yeah.
So we're
My favorite
focusing on
stuff to
that.
do.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
hold
exciting.
on.
Hold,
This happens sometimes.
there was two of me for a second there, and I got
Yeah, it was
really
creepy.
excited. I was like, perfect. No, I like
The
to,
inner narcissist.
I love portraying that I am, even though I'm not. Like when we did that Black Friday, or it wasn't Black Friday, at the new Berry store, when they did the podcast on my stories the next day,
Yeah.
I like broke it down as if was like, oh,
I
look at
loved it.
camera, this man's handsome, and all this shit. Yeah, I think I need to be like that so I like don't turn into it, you
One
know?
of the things that I've learned in politics is that I don't talk enough about myself.
Okay.
I do a lot of good for my community, and I'm really humble. So I don't talk about it because I don't do it for the promotion. I do it for the good of it. So more and more, I will post things on my stories or my Instagram and social medias of the things that I do. Because I learned everybody, everybody's out there winning awards and promoting
Mhm.
themselves. And I'm thinking, I do all this good stuff. When do I get recognition? When you just,
That Yeah, and I mean, you get those feel good rewards at the end of the day where you're
yeah,
giving back, and that's I typically, to a person like that, that's all you need. But
yeah,
with what you're doing, that's no, you need that like
you
out
need it.
there,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah,
do. And it's,
yeah,
I think the shocking part of that is when you do start coming out with all of it, I think everyone else is going to be like, holy shit, we need to step up our game a little bit.
yeah. I think actually, Kayla, the taping queen, was the
Hmm.
first one who made me realize that because
Yeah.
we had a long conversation. And I said to her, like, she used Can Am and I used Columbia. So I said,
Hmm.
when you're in Huntsville, that's 2 hours north of me. I said, I'm willing to drive to come work with you.
That'd be so dope. Yeah.
Yeah. And afterwards, well, I loved it because I don't wear stilts because I have a bleeding disorder. So if I fall and break a leg, it's bad.
Okay.
So I said, "Well, I'll take your bench and I'll wipe the three ways."
Hmm.
And she kind of looked at me like, "Oh, this girl's crazy. She's never going to keep up." And I've learned to adapt. So I'm
Yeah.
fast with a bench. So I was finished and I was like, "What can I do now?" And she was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And she said to me later, she couldn't believe that I could do that. And I said, "Well, I've learned to adapt." But at the end of it, after we talked about things, she was like, "You're who I want to be." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, isn't
I
that
was like,
weird to
"You're who
hear?
I want to be." I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't understand this." But it's because I go into schools and talk to kids about drywall, and I get to go to different community things like that. Like I did what did we call it? Like drinks and tool. What was it? Anyways, it was something where we had some drinks and we learned how to patch a hole.
That's
And it was
perfect.
a really cool night. Yeah. Oh, cocktails and construction.
There you
That's what
go.
it was. Yeah.
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 Well, they do that like paint nights where people
Yeah.
go and drink wine. Why would you not teach people how to do drywall shit? Have a few drinks. There's no problem
Someone
with
actually
that.
said to me, "You're teaching them your trade." And I said, "No, I'm teaching them to patch the little holes so that I don't have to
Hmm.
come do a hole that's worth $100. I can do the big jobs and they can
Yeah.
fix their own things then."
It is, and don't get it mixed up. If you like doing patches, for people listening, there's a lot
Yeah.
of money in that, but there's a lot of driving around and a lot of
Yes.
like dealing with customers and a lot of like why is your couch still here? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you're like, okay, so I could have coded, 2000 fucking board
Yeah.
feet in the time that I did this.
Yeah.
But I do know people that just strictly patch, and they're cleaning up because
Oh
nobody
yeah.
wants to
Yeah.
do it. They charge a
Yeah.
pretty good price. It's not terrible. The first year I figured that we were going to end up getting into that kind of stuff just because if things settle down, like if they slow down.
Yeah.
And I went pricing some of them, but for what I'm used to doing size wise and what it costs, it was very difficult for me to say, $300 or something to
Yeah.
somebody. But that's
Yeah.
what your time is kind of worth. And I was lucky that we didn't have to do that.
I find that's the hardest part is people think it's going to be really cheap, and then
Yeah.
you factor everything in, materials, time, gas, and mileage.
Yeah.
Like it adds up quickly, and then they're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. Okay, well, get whoever then.
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like the type of person that's going to pay properly for something like that goes, I'm going to bring somebody in here to do this because I'm going to fucking stare at it if it's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other people don't know that. They don't even know that if it's wrong, you'll see it, so they're
I
like,
love when people are like, look, I did my own drywall work. And I'm like, uh-huh, uh-huh.
yeah,
Okay. Yep. Let's leave now.
this is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of that too, where the customer was like, yeah, I boarded it myself. No scrap. And like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, where you're like, wow, you saved $40. That's good for you. And you have
One
to be
wall and there's
positive.
60 butt joints. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I like once people get into drywall, I always say to them, you're going to see every deficiency everywhere you go. And they're like, no, I'm like, I go to the hairdresser and they're washing my hair and it's supposed to be relaxing. And I'm looking at the ceiling going, who did that?
Right.
Oh my God, I need my pan and knife.
I have to like physically stop myself from like moving tiles around in places because
I believe
I'm
it.
like, dude, you can see to the ceiling. This isn't what this is for. And they're like, what the hell are you doing?
I just have to fix this for you.
Yeah, they're expecting you to take it down and there's like jewels in there or something.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, look, it's doing it again.
That's okay. It's like a party on your side. That's so much fun.
It's so weird.
That must be your camera doing that.
Yeah, it happens regularly now.
That's okay.
Time for an upgrade.
Now there's no way you have a webcam. Is it from a laptop or?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's just time for my computer to be upgraded. It's 4 or 5 years old now. So, back in the day, you'd have them last forever. Now, a couple of years and they're garbage.
Literally. And so other than the podcast, I've used this MacBook for nothing but business.
Yeah.
Like nothing but business. So I don't know if that's what's making it last a little bit longer, but we'll see how long it does now that I'm using it for this.
It's gonna hate you now.
Oh, I know.
You'd better knock on wood.
I am on the table. Actually, it came to Vegas with me. Aaron and I did ours in the hotel room that we had.
Yeah.
When I went to pick my seat, I was like, okay, so I'm gonna need a bag, so I'll pay for the bag. And then I was like, for some reason, I looked at what I was taking, and it's this enormous bag, but it has everything in it. The whole studio's in it. And I was like, I bet these other guys have a duffel bag. We're gone for 2 days. You know how fucking easy that would have been?
Yeah.
To just like put a couple pairs of underwear in a bag and hop on a plane. Yeah, I'll be doing that next time. I'm gonna do this whole thing different next time. I worked that Tuesday up till 4 o'clock, went to the airport. It was supposed to be 8, and then it was like 11 before we left. And then the night that I left, we were just sitting down to dinner, and I looked at my phone. I was like, I gotta go. And then we didn't even have dinner together. It was so stupid for a day's labor. It's I feel like
we all do it.
I know.
We all do it.
Yeah.
Like that's the hardest part is we all do that stuff, it's like, oh, I have to finish this, so I'm just going to do it. And then you're like, I regret doing that.
Well, because when I'm here, my brain is at work.
Yeah.
And I'd never gone to anything like this before. So I was like, when it's done, it's probably done or whatever. And everybody was like, we're staying till tomorrow. What are you doing? And it didn't even
Yeah.
occur to me, And
Yeah.
then when I'm sitting in the airport, I'm going, when the fuck is the next time I'm going to come to Vegas
Yeah.
with like 10 guys that I enjoy spending time with? This was really dumb.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
went when it was back at Disney World a few years ago, 4 years ago now.
yeah, that's where it is next year.
Yeah, I didn't know anyone then, so I just walked through. I checked out some of the products and asked some questions. But it was really cool. I'm really disappointed that this house got in the way of Vegas because we really wanted to go. But we are going to go to Disney next year. We're going to do some
Awesome.
hardcore adulting at Disney.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, between all the companies I have my hands in now, I better go.
Yeah.
Fresco Harmony did a lot of great stuff this year. He was really the only person that was doing demonstrations.
Yeah.
So every once in a while there was like a big group, and we're looking across at it just like fantastic.
That's such a neat, like I was talking to my mom about it because she actually did her own like Venetian plaster in her bathroom years ago.
Yeah.
We just got rid of it, so it's hilarious. But I was telling her about it and she said like, that sounds really cool. So she said, I want to do it in my kitchen. So I said to her, when I'm a little bit less busy,
Yeah.
we will do it in your kitchen. I want to do a wall at my office too.
So the one behind me is first coat. It's done, and then down the end of my hallway, my place is like it's the family room and then like a bowling alley hallway, and then everything branches off of it. So at the very end I've got that red, and it's same thing, first coat, but I put a lot of texture. Like it's gonna be awesome when it's done. We were just at Foz doing his backsplash.
I saw that. It looks so good.
Night. He's unbelievable.
That's so cool. Yeah.
He's unbelievable. And then he looks to you, he's like, I just keep trying to fix what I think is a mistake. And I don't know if he's being humble and he's full of shit, or if he's like actually just stumbling his way through this amazing application of it. But we sat and did a podcast in between coats, and I was like, okay, so this is just drying now. It's been about an hour. You could do like a whole floor in that time, like if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Like if you had like a full kitchen or something you were going to do, and then stop, eat dinner, and then come back. You do your second coat same day, and then you could probably seal it same day. It's really cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad that CSR got him up here so we could see it, because I've been watching him for a long time. So to get to actually see it in person was really neat, and to get to just see how it's done. And like, I couldn't believe he didn't put any water on top the pail of mud at the end. I was just like, what do you mean it's going to be fine?
And it was. So have you opened yours since?
No, I'm not ready yet. I'm not, no.
Okay, so I opened the black and the red because I did the work here. I didn't open, Foz told me to take his, and I'm like, anyways, like in a month from now, you'll call me, right? And sure enough, we opened his, and it was still perfect. Like we just whipped it up a little bit. He says it'll get moldy if you leave it too long. But I feel like a guy that's been doing it 17 years, too long is very different than what we think it is. It's probably like a year.
Oh, he said years when I was asking him, because I said, like, I said, I've had pails of mud go bad in a few months. I've had pails of mud go bad in a few weeks, depending on the batch.
Right.
And like I'm just shocked by it.
How do you know it's going bad? It starts to smell. It's got that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
It gets the smell first, and then it starts to turn black.
As soon as it molds, for sure.
It's disgusting. I love when that happens and there's someone new. I'm like, check out this.
I got a knife at the bottom of that. Can you just dig around in there for it?
Just gotta get it out. I've actually had a pump that sat for too long with mud in it. Ooh. And the first time I went to use it, I was like, oh my God, that's disgusting.
Yeah. Ice Rock was saying on I think it's the Can-Am tubes, where it had a hole at the back.
Yeah.
But he just plugs it. So it always has mud in it, and then he's always in and out of it. But so when he kind of like made the new one or whatever, or had what he had to say about it, he put it around the edges so the air blew out this way. Because if you were
Oh,
doing it and you got like, you would get it right in the mouth almost.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's yeah, right. Yeah,
That's the worst.
you kind of gag thinking about it.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, let's take a break.